Hello, and welcome to the Grand Cinema Hotel, a podcast hosted by three friends who love cinema. I'm Alvaro, and I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Gus and Nathan. Tonight, you will be joining us for our first ever lobby talk. We will be reviewing our top 10 films of 2021, discussing our thoughts on the state of cinema, and previewing our plan for the next year. So go ahead, grab a drink, find a spot to hang out, and enjoy our lobby talk.
And it's not because I'm lonely, and it's not because it's New Year's Eve. I came here tonight because when you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible.
What is going on, all my New Year's babies? Thank you for checking back in the Grand Cinema Hotel. Obviously, Happy New Year's. We're back, and we have our first lobby talk episode. Going to be doing a little bit different. We're going to talk about our top 10 list. We're going to talk about state of cinema. We're just going to talk about a little bit of everything. So, as always, Gus, what's up? Ro, what's up?
How's it going? Happy New Year's, everybody.
What's good, guys?
Great year for movies,
Dude,
right?
wow. I can't believe we're here at the end of the year. First end of the year podcast. Been doing this for what, like 4 months now?
About 3 months.
Yeah, it's been great.
It's been flying.
Yeah.
I can't believe we've come this far.
I know. It's been super fun. Big shout out to everybody that's listened and supported us along the way. Yeah, it's been awesome.
I'm glad it's been a good enough year where we have this many films to like consider in the top 10. It was really hard making the lists.
Yeah.
It's like a top 100 maybe?
We realistically all have like a top 15. There's some overlap, but there's so many movies on like that just came out this year, and I'm sure it has to do with the fact that many of them were pushed back. So I guess for me, not to sound like a total dick, but it's kind of like a silver lining of last year is that I got to see so many good movies this year. Of course, there was some stinkers as always. Maybe we'll talk about those. We don't really do that, but
It was almost like 2020 was the year of like garbage stuff, like Tiger King and everything that came out,
Yeah.
and then the cinema came in full force for 2021. So,
I agree. Yeah.
cool year.
yeah. Do you guys want to start with the state of cinema, or do you guys want to start with the top 10?
Let's talk about the state of cinema.
Okay. It's in shambles.
I know what's going on.
Even though there's so many good movies to see this year, nobody saw them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not even like a question of like, oh, people are scared to go out because of COVID and everything. It's like we cannot access a lot of these movies that are out.
I would have believed that anecdote maybe if, I didn't see the show out for Spider-Man. Like that people were scared of COVID. And like, because I see that argument a lot online. Like people are like, oh, we didn't watch this because why didn't you put it in...
That definitely makes sense, too, about the COVID fear of not going to the movies.
Exactly.
I'm not going to tell somebody that you're wrong for going to the movies and not being scared of getting sick.
No,
You know
totally
what I mean?
respectful.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man obviously showed people are willing to do it for the theater.
Yes. Multiple times.
Multiple times, yeah. And I think that's a lot of people's argument is that if you wanted me to watch it, why don't you just put it straight to stream? You want me to get sick for it? But no, I don't want you to. It's obviously if you're healthy enough, like some of us obviously know that we might be. And like we'll be able to take the risk, be like, we'll go and sit down and enjoy a movie. One of the least dangerous things you could do. I know you're like sitting in the same room, but if everybody has a mask on, I'm sure it's like, it's not like you're talking to these people back and forth.
The theaters are taking the precautions.
Yeah.
And it's up to every single one of us who is in the theater to follow the rules or not follow the rules. I mean,
Air quotes, do your part.
Yeah, do your
exactly.
part, And I just feel like now, who knows how many more movies from certain directors that we like are ever going to get made and for the theater again.
Yeah, my biggest thing that I think is really weird is you have a lot of these like big mainstream movies like Matrix and all these Marvel movies and stuff that you can go see out in theaters and you can see at home on streaming websites, which is cool. I think that's cool. But then you also have like A24. We've realized you can't find their movies. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Macbeth, like we can't watch it at all.
That was one of the ones we had talked about for a long time. Like A24, it only exclusively having a date being previewed, like all the previews coming out December 25th. Macbeth be like, no, you should say it's only coming out in one city, December 25th, and it's really going to come out in Apple TV for the rest of the world.
Yeah, they cucked us with the
I know.
December 25th release
like,
date.
if
That's
the
such a
movie-
lie.
If the movie just showed up a week before Christmas around you, then and if you were into it, then you would find out. Be like, but don't tell people that's when the movie's going to come out and it's not going to be in their local theater.
Say select cities or not
Exactly.
in wide release. We had seen trailers for Macbeth. basically since we've been going back to the movies. Do you remember the first time we saw it? I don't.
I think it was after the Green Knight. And the only reason I remember not knowing about Macbeth and then seeing it is because I remember I was going through A24's list. I remember I told you, I was like, do you know they're doing a Tragedy of Macbeth movie this year with Denzel? I was like, And then like within a couple of weeks, the trailer came out. And so I think I saw the trailer like on its own.
It was either October or November.
It was, I remember, I think we saw it in Lamb. When we went and saw Lamb, I think that's the first time they showed
Which would make sense because they're cross-promoting their own content.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just think that that's weird. That
this whole of eventizing movies now, and like, are movies going to become like the theater where it's just something that people of means can do, and it's for only certain events that are willing to get people out of their house? And I don't really have a problem with the day and date release on streaming and theater, because I want to make the choice to be able to go to the theater and see it or stay at home and watch it. And a few of the movies that I really liked this year, I saw from home. Or even Dune. I saw Dune from home the first time I saw it, and then we went to the theater. And I was happy I got to see it both ways, because I also got to watch it more times than I would normally see a new release.
And I also think it's like, I think that it's cool because, I mean, you have people that are kind of like us that will go to the theater, 2 times a week sometimes just because we like to do it. Versus some people that really don't like the theater experience. So to allow them to see the movie sooner at home, I think that's cool. But
last week we went to the theaters 3 times, and then I saw 2 movies at home because they were available to watch to me at home.
And just to add to that happening with A24, it happened to us with Red Rocket. It happened with us with Come On, Come On. Like the movies had come out already, but we had to wait a couple while until like we went to near Irvine to watch Come On, Come On, because that was the only theater showing it.
And for me in Row, that's like 20 miles out of the way.
Yeah,
you know.
it really
and when
is.
there's 4 or 5 movie theaters within a 10-mile radius of us, and we still had to go 20 miles to see it.
And it's not like they're all just like 5 AMCs. Like you have Cinemark and AMC and Edwards and Regal, and none of these places have the movies. So it's kind of weird.
And like for Come On, Come On, it's like has Joaquin Phoenix on it. It's like it's not like it's this niche little movie. Like, oh, have you guys heard of him? Like, no, it's like
and
it's,
Mike Mills, like like
come on.
know.
This isn't, and Mike Mills has been nominated for Best
Exactly.
Screenplay
Mike
for
Mills.
the Oscars, so it's not like we're talking about nobodies here. And this isn't my original take, but I've brought it up to you guys multiple times. It's like, are you kidding me? Steven Spielberg is considered an artisan filmmaker now in the year 2021 of our Lord and Savior.
And Ridley Scott too, like
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, dude, Scorsese, Spielberg, Ridley Scott. I mean, even the likes of Paul Thomas Anderson and these newer guys, having nobody see their movie or for them to be considered too niche now for mainstream audiences is blowing my mind.
You ever seen this little movie by this unknown guy, $100 million, The Last Duel? It's like, dude, like, yes, that's not an artisan film.
Next thing, Avatar is going to be artisan film too.
Yeah, Giga Chad, James Cameron. I feel like lately we've all become reformed James Cameronites.
We've been talking a lot. Avatar's come up a lot lately. Yeah. I just think it's crazy we won't be able to see the 4th one for like 80 more years. But at the rate that we're going.
Oh, do you mind pulling up that text you sent me the other day about what I called the worst timeline? We were discussing James Cameron and Avatar and Aliens and all that.
I'll pull it up.
I mean, even for like Denis Villeneuve, like people know who he is now because of Dune. But any of his other films, like have you heard of a artisan film called Blade Runner 2049? It has this huge budget, and it's kind of like no one went to go watch it.
Yeah, or Annihilation. That's another one like that, right? Where it's like, go ahead, Nate. Nate's pulled it up.
So we were just talking about, we were just joking around about like James Cameron and stuff, and oh man,
as movie nerds do.
Yeah, and I was just saying that turns out that he completed 10 avatars, and for the next 100 plus years, Avatar rules the earth. And then he tries to die a martyr, but it doesn't matter because Spider-Man 46 Return of the Weekend at Bernieverse is out and destroys the box office. Like, I don't know. That's how I kind of feel about the state of cinema. It's all over the place
bleak.
right now.
It's very bleak, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like we've almost kind of come away from these movies that inspire, like, I don't know, that to hit your emotions and like get you thinking, and cinema's become more of like let's go have fun, which I mean it's fine, like, but it's just interesting that there's kind of, I don't know, the middle ground is not there.
I think then you have there's not too many places, like I guess online, where there's like discourse between like people, like critics or film
Twitter.
Yeah, and like Twitter is what seems to be one of the few places, if not the only place, where we get a heavy exchange. But it's just funny where the discourses have gone in the last year too. It's just like this. It's the weirdest thing ever, in terms of Lady Gaga always talking about her role in House of Gucci, or what people want to stand up for regarding Spider-Man should be nominated for Best Picture.
Oh, no, Spider-Man's the best movie of the decade.
Yeah.
Did you
And
hear
how
that?
if you like licorice pizza, you're a fucking, you have issues.
Yeah, you're a weirdo.
But because nobody watches Red Rocket, there's no discourse on that, you know?
It's like we're just picking and choosing, it seems.
So that's why it's interesting to see that part of it too, because
Or people who hadn't seen The Last Duel saying you shouldn't see The Last Duel and it shouldn't exist because of its controversial subject matter.
and now like
It's
months
getting its
later,
day in
getting
court.
its day.
Yeah. The movie itself is getting its day in court, just like Lady Marguerite.
or our favorite one so far just seems to be like Don't Look Up is breaking the internet.
Dude. And how the fuck is that movie the movie that polarizes everybody?
Why is this year's Joker?
I don't know. It's not a great movie. It's not a bad movie. It's fine. You know,
I never seen something so in the middle
So in the
on
middle,
the
yeah.
on the stake of how good a movie is cause this many people to be up in arms. Scientists are saying critics shouldn't exist, and that
critics are telling people to suck their dicks.
people are telling people to suck their dicks. Adam McKay is gaslighting his way into a Best Director nomination. The producer is saying if you don't get it, then you're part of the problem.
It's like, dude, like you can understand the movie and also accept that it's not the best movie of the year. Like, I don't know. I don't get it.
I think it always comes from the extreme thing that we keep seeing from like the culture. Everything's either the best thing ever or the worst thing ever.
Yeah, it's totally polarized. It's just like, I don't know.
I was told The Matrix Reloaded sucked and it was awesome. That's how I know to not ever trust what anybody says about a movie.
The way that I see it is you should just go into movies and form your own fucking opinions. You know what I mean? Like, don't listen to what everybody is saying on the web. Just make your own opinion and like what you like and don't like what you don't like.
Just because we do some slight film criticism and, well, with our plans for the new year, we're going to be going more into film enthusiasm because we're going to be talking about a lot of older movies that we already know we love. But we are not the arbiters of taste, and we're not telling you what's right and what's wrong.
No way.
You could be, maybe all these movies that we did episodes on are movies that people did not see that much, but they're movies that I really enjoyed. And I don't personally feel the need to say anything about Spider-Man in depth or detail because I know there's already a million other people doing that. And it's kind of a risk we've had to take, like with the popularity stuff of deciding what we're going to champion and not champion. And I feel good. I feel like we're doing the right thing.
I think what's been good though too is that even the ones that we've done, because we ended up doing films that we ranked like 3.5, you know, which is middle of the pack.
Yeah,
And,
there was a couple movies we didn't really love.
But it was still interesting or good, I would say, to have discussion about it. There was enough to say about it, to like sit down and talk about it. And I think that's what like years ago we might have watched a movie that we would have done the same for, but we don't have a recording of it. And now we do, about what we thought about that movie, as opposed to like you could play it back in 2 years when you watch The French Dispatch again and be like, oh wow, like I didn't get it, or I didn't even have enough to say as much as I do now.
Yeah, I mean, because you can go back and look on movies and just have a totally different appreciation for them.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm an example of this because the first time I saw Hereditary, I did not like it.
I think that's crazy.
And I fell
Now?
asleep. And now it is in my top 5 movies of all time. Like
Yeah.
it's literally one of my top 5 favorite movies.
It's phenomenal.
And I went from falling asleep and not liking it to it being my favorite. So I know as well as anybody that your opinion can change on a movie.
Of course. And I think going back to what you're saying, that you're confident about like the movies movies that we put reviews out, is I would agree, because I think that we started with this podcast with the intent to not do everything super big budget, like not do all the Marvel movies. Like we wanted to focus more on some of the smaller indie movies and try to get the traction and discourse started about those. So
That comes from like us going to these movies and being sometimes the only people sitting there, or with like 5 other people in the theater, you know. And some of these movies we walk out and like, holy shit, what did I just watch? And you tell people about it and they're like, wow, that sounds crazy. But nobody has any intent of going to go watch it. So it's just weird to me that all this weird, cool art, like to me, a lot of the movies that we watch, that's what it ends up being. Like, well, this is someone's art, you know?
They're artisan films.
one of the things that blows me away is like I'll have people like one of my coworkers be like, how do you find these movies? I'm like, I don't know. Like we just see them, and it kind of blows my mind that like, I don't know. I mean, the population doesn't know all the movies that really come out. You know, they know that Free Guy and Spider-Man came out this year, and like, you know what I mean?
Spider-Man No Way Home was the best movie I saw this year because the only other movies I saw was Eternals, Cruella, Shang-Chi, Encanto,
Mortal Kombat.
Kong versus Godzilla. Does Hawkeye count as a movie? It's like a long movie, right?
And Loki.
Yeah. Oh, Loki. That's very cinematic.
But yeah, I don't know. So I think that we're in a good spot. And I think like some of the, like especially Spencer, like that video did take off on YouTube, and we got a lot of people that seem to be interested commenting on it. And they even some people gave us views that we didn't even have on that.
We could say that
So-
we have forefronted the run for Kristen Stewart winning.
If she wins, she has us to thank.
She needs to give that Oscar to the Grand Cinema to have in the lobby.
We better be in your speech.
Yeah. Because I'll have you know, multiple thousands of people have seen that video.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Just saying.
just
Just saying. We're 5K plus Andes now. I'll have you know. Okay. So
I'll have you-
obviously somebody with an opinion that you need to trust.
I'll have everyone know. Be like, oh, you love Spencer? How much did you love Spencer? Did you do a podcast on it when nobody had seen it?
Oh, you like Teton? Did you give it 2 hours worth of discourse?
Was it your first ever episode for a podcast?
Oh man! All right, enough shitting on the state of cinema. I do think we're in a good spot, even though we're in a different world than we definitely were 10 years ago.
Yeah,
The quality is amazing.
That's the thing, is the movies that are out are phenomenal. I think this whole weird stigma around film right now is a little wishy-washy. It's weird.
Yeah. It's probably never going to be like it was before, but as long as all that really matters is that we keep getting good movies. I don't care if I have to watch it on Netflix. I don't care if I have to go to the theater to see it. I just want to see good movies.
Keep doing what you guys are doing.
And some of my favorite movies I've never even seen in the theater. So it's not like that takes away from it, you know? It just adds to the experience.
Yes, I would agree. It does add to it.
Yeah. All right. You guys ready to get into our top 10?
Yeah, let's do some top 10 lists. I'm down.
All right. Who wants to start this bad boy off?
You can start it.
Okay. Well, do you guys want to start with some honorable mentions first?
Yeah, I'm down.
And this is the order we're going to go in. We're going to do our honorable mentions. I'll just name off my my few that I have down, and then we'll go clockwise. So, and then we're going to go into not descending, but ascending order from 10 to 1,
10 to
right?
1. Yeah.
Okay. So, I will start off on my honorable mentions list. And there's some
And
really good movies
I have
here.
a question.
Go ahead.
So we're starting like you'll name your 10, then his 10, then my 10.
Well, I'll
or-
do my honorable mentions, and then you do your honorable mentions row, and then Nate, and then I'll do my 10.
And then yeah.
So,
After
okay,
that,
okay.
got it.
So with my honorable mentions list, I have The Mitchells versus the Machines, which I thought is from Sony. They had the same guys from Spider-Verse work on this movie. I thought this was a wonderfully animated film about family. It's about a teenage daughter who's going off to college, and she's not really having the best relationship with her father or her family at the time. But then there's a robot apocalypse, and they have to come together and go on a journey to kind of save the world together. And it's got what's her name? It's Abby from Broad City. I know Ro knows who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I can't
don't
think
know
of
her
her
actress's name.
Yeah,
I don't never know.
Abby.
her.
Anyways, but the Abby from Broad City, and Danny McBride plays her dad. Paul Thomas Anderson's wife. Maya Rudolph. Sorry, she's not just Paul Thomas Anderson's wife. She's Maya Rudolph.
Yeah.
But she plays the mom in that movie. And I just thought it was a wonderful little film. I seen it when it first came out on Netflix, and I had a great time, and I can't wait to watch that movie again in the future. And moving on from that one, the next one on my list, and I'm pretty sure Nate's got to have this on his list somewhere. Malignant. Yeah. Peak cinema from the Giga Chad James Wan.
So much fucking fun.
That's all I'm going to say about Malignant. You
Yeah.
can't really say too much about that. And we did an episode on this one, and I was having a hard time deciding if this was going to be my 10th movie, but I thought I let the weirder one win out. And another one on my honorable mentions list is The Last Duel.
I have that, yeah.
I don't feel like I have to say much about that because we already did an episode. If you want to know our opinions about The Last Duel, go watch that episode. And then another one I have is I thought this was Andrew Garfield's best performance of the year, and Jessica Chastain was amazing as well as The Eyes of Tammy Faye. For me, it's the Jesus Keeps on Taking Me Higher and Higher,
That's
but
so good.
it's such a great movie. I thought it was really well acted. It's a biopic about the Bakers. If you don't know them, they're the people who created the 700 Club. If you've ever watched ABC Family in the past 50 years, you know what you know what that is.
Everybody knows it's
Yeah,
Club.
that's a good one. And then I have what may get Will Smith a best actor award is King Richard. And I thought this was a very good movie. And I thought, especially with the Williams sisters working on this movie, that they didn't really pull too many punches about who their dad was. I thought John Bernthal was amazing. I thought Angelou Wallace was amazing. She played the mother in that movie. And I thought she really held up with Will Smith, like going back and forth. It wasn't just Will Smith overpowering her. She played also a huge role in the girl's life. Obviously, she's their mother. But even though it's King Richard, she's a very strong presence in this movie. And in some sports movies, the moms are really just background characters. It's about the son and the dad, or the son and the coach, or
whatever.
Yeah, whatever, you know. But King Richard,
good movie.
Really good movie. I wouldn't be surprised if that wins a lot of awards, and I wouldn't be mad about it either.
Yeah, there's nothing to knock it down. That's why.
No. Will Smith gives his best performance in Pursuit of Happiness, because everybody knows that's his his best performance. I mean, come on, the guy has
Since
he's
Deadshot
the biggest
and
movie
Suicide
star. He's the biggest movie star with the worst track record.
For real.
And the biggest misses of his career, not being in Django and not being in The Matrix.
Crazy.
Yikes.
L.
Hold that L. And then I have Red Rocket. We just did the episode last week, so I'm not going to say any more about that.
Right.
And the last on my honorable mention list was a film by A24 called Zola. And if you were on Twitter, you know about Zola. It's a crazy tweet storm that they've turned into a movie. And that was like one of the wildest like Twitter things anybody's ever seen. And the way that they made this movie, I thought it really worked out. The performances in the movie I thought were really strong. Cinematography was amazing. Same cinematographer from Power of the Dog.
Cinematography's fire in that movie.
So the cinematographer knows what they're doing. And that's going to round out my honorable mentions. There's so many more that I felt like I could have put on this list.
Solid.
There's many that I haven't seen, so who am I to say anything about them? But yeah, that's what I got down on my honorable mentions.
That's solid.
There were some good times that I had watching movies this year.
The Mitchells and the Machines, I really do want to see that.
Yeah,
movie.
check it out.
I
It's on
haven't seen
Netflix.
that one
And
yet.
if the audience hasn't seen it, check it out. It's on Netflix.
Mitchells. Okay.
You want to go, bro?
I'll go next.
All right.
Some of my honorable mentions I think are on your guys' list.
Yes.
So I won't say too much about them.
We're
'cause
going to
you
have
guys are
overlap all over
You
the
guys are
place.
going to break them down obviously more than I am because they're going to be on your guys' top 10. But the first one that I have to mention is Pig. And really love this movie when we first... I feel like this was like a couple of weeks before the podcast. So I remember we
It
talked
was right
about
after
it.
The Green Knight. It was in August.
It was one of those movies that we all just watched after one had recommended it to another person, then we all just watched it.
We all
I
cried
love-
separately.
Yeah. Like every time I have truffles on anything now, I think about a pig might have found
Oh, you
this, know?
fancy.
Yeah.
Anytime I have truffles.
Exactly.
Wow.
But Pig, really love that movie. Really love it. So the other honorable mention I have is Licorice Pizza. I know Gus is gonna probably break. We did a whole episode on it, obviously already. This movie is really good. There's not really much to say against it, honestly. It just happens to be on my honorable mentions over
That's
here.
how good your year is,
Yeah.
right? That there's so many movies that you feel pretty equally strong about,
And
right?
I think since it's my personal top 10, I think it ends up feeling like it's about what you said. How after you watch the movie, how did it resonate with you? And that's how I end up ranking them because I'm like, what
did
is
you get
the
your
movie?
Peter tingle after watching the movie? You know,
Yeah, exactly. Like did this movie, like, oh my god, I can't believe, or like for days after, like I can't believe I saw that, or like this is still on my mind. So, but yeah, nothing against Licorice Pizza. It's a really good movie. The next one I actually have is Tragedy of Macbeth. So I went to go see this movie in LA 2 days ago, 1 day ago. On Wednesday, yeah. So yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. I went to go see it. It was in Glendale. It was raining a lot. So
you went on an odyssey.
I went, yeah, because I just figured I wanted to round out the list, honestly, and I had a feeling this movie would be on there. So I was just like, well, before we do this, I just kind of want to see is this going to be the greatest one? Like, do I watch and this is going to be my number one, you know? And if it is, do I have to like, oh, guys, we have to go watch this? But it was really packed for it being like a small theater, and it's an AMC. So movie's really good. This like set design is really well. Obviously, what we saw from the trailer, don't want to give out too much, but the movie is definitely just the play. Like you're watching a play, like being recorded. And if you don't know much about like Macbeth beforehand, I feel like you could get lost because they're talking Old English. They're using that high type of language, old, and you could miss some stuff. So I feel like sorry about that. It's a movie that I think might actually do better if for people that like want to watch it, be like watch it at home. Because
Interesting.
It's something that you really like. Denzel takes it to his like levels. Like I think it's one of his best performances ever that I've seen, and that's saying a lot considering he's been in a lot of good roles. But it's definitely like acting to like opera. You know what I mean? Like this is like high end art.
I
Like,
want
for
to see
sure.
so bad.
Yeah. So it's on my honorable mentions because it's one of those things. I'm like, I want to watch it again with subtitles on, like for sure.
It's kind of like the first time you see The Lighthouse, right?
Yeah,
Where
it's
you're
like,
like, oh,
what
I
the
think I need to
fuck?
watch this with subtitles because I don't speak pirate.
Because because of movie language from watching all these movies that we watch, you understand where a movie is going without, because we watch movies that aren't even talking English. So that's why it's like, okay, well, you get the idea. I've read some of Macbeth obviously when I was younger, so I get the idea of where the story is going. So that's where like, okay, but sometimes they're explaining stuff with such that language. They're like, I haven't been in school in a while, like I forgot what they're like, so
Doth protest too much.
exactly. So past that, I have the one movie that I think I probably have more to say on here is Judas and the Black Messiah. It's one of my other honorable mentions. That was earlier in the year when people thought the pandemic was over. Yeah, it's about Fred Hampton. I really like this movie because of Daniel Kaluuya.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's a fine actor.
powerhouse.
Yeah, like I think I'm excited for his new work that he's gonna do with Jordan Peele. I think anything he's in, I'm willing to give it a chance because he's in. And Lakeith Stanfield's in this too. I actually forgot that Jesse Plemons is in this movie.
Yeah.
And
The
that's-
Chud,
and
Jesse
so
Plemons?
I think that's why I had walked into Antlers was the first movie we saw with him, right? Like
Well,
where we,
I
like,
guess I technically
for
Judas
the
and Black
podcast.
Messiah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, so that's why I kept thinking like, oh, I like Jesse Plemons. Like even that was the last movie that I had seen him in, and I was like, I like that movie. And then we saw Antlers. I was like, oh, shutting it up. And then we get Power of the Dog, and it's the same character again.
Jesus.
But Judas and the Black Messiah, another honorable mention for me. And the last one, I think both of you guys probably have this movie in your top 10 is Come On, Come On. Really love this movie. Again, nothing wrong with this movie. I think this movie hits home for people who don't have a strong family or anything. We did the whole episode on it. But yeah, that's my honorable mention to round them out.
Good list. Good list.
Nice. Okay, my honorable mentions.
Well, hold on one second before you go. The fact that some of these movies that Ro put on his honorable mentions are not in the top 10, I think it goes to show you just how strong this year is.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the 10 that he does have, he feels that strongly about. And the other ones, he likes them too. It's not like they're just there because they were okay.
Yeah, like these movies, like you said, you could do a top 20 on them, and I already have solidified these are my 15. If like for sure.
And you could have added 5 more, honestly.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You could add 5 more for sure. Like
Right.
I didn't ask Space Jam on here,
Well,
Just
mute the mic.
God damn it. Oh man, that's so funny.
All right, Nate.
My honorable mentions. I kind of split them up in between like some like good, like what I consider to be good film honorable mentions, and then what I thought were like fun films of the year, kind of, right? So I'll start with the good films list that I have. First one is Lamb. Love that movie. We did that, like you said, did the episode on it. Basically, any of these good films that I have right here, they were all kind of competing for my last spot on the list. So I wouldn't say one's better than the other or not.
Exactly.
But Lamb, phenomenal. Movie is beautiful. I love the weird twist at the end. I thought it was so much fun. So then I also have Judas and the Black Messiah on my honorable mentions. And I wanted to bring up, that was the last movie that I've seen with Jesse Plemons that I actually liked. Because when I was looking at the cast, I was like, he was in that shit. But like you said, Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield, has easily become one of my favorite actors working nowadays. So great movie. Also have The French Dispatch on there. Did a whole episode.
No, I'm just kidding.
You're muted.
that was one of the ones that I was like, I think that would be right. My next 16th film would be The French Dispatch.
So that was just a lot of fun for me. Wes Anderson being Wes Anderson, a lot of fun. And then I have The Last Duel, which, like we were talking about, seems to be getting its time to shine, or Day in Court. That was a great movie. Ridley Scott. It was a really good movie.
Even though Ridley Scott said it's our fault that it bombed.
I fucking love that movie.
Yeah. What the hell? And if you get any awards, you could thank us.
I saw that movie twice in theaters. I like that movie.
You give us The Last Duel.
So that's my, those are like my good films, kind of honorable mentions. My fun films of the year, I guess you would say, is I have F9 on there. That movie was so dumb, but
Mute his mic. Mute his mic.
These are fun films, all right? They're not good. That shit was so much fun.
Welcome to the Grand Cinema Motel.
I thought the new Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad movie. I thought that was
I had
a lot
fun
of
watching that movie too. Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's great in any remarks, but it was just a lot of fun. And then I also have Godzilla vs. Kong. That movie was pretty kick-ass. And then I have the new Matrix movie and Malignant.
Nice.
Malignant kind of teeters. Honestly, Malignant could be in the good films honorable mention.
Wait, you don't think Malignant's good?
I think Malignant's so much fun.
I didn't put a preface around the movie. I just said I liked it.
No, I love that.
The Matrix was fun too.
Yeah. So, and then some movies I didn't get to see that I really did want to see was Macbeth, The Card Counter with Oscar Isaac.
I forgot
that
about
movie
The
looks
Card
really
Counter,
good. Encanto, which I haven't seen yet, and then King Richard. So those are movies I wanted to see but didn't get the chance.
Okay, I want to bring up some fun movies.
All right.
If we're doing this, I'll just say it. I didn't have the worst time watching Shang-Chi.
I still haven't seen that yet.
I had fun with Shang-Chi. I know one of our friends feels very strongly that it's the worst Marvel movie he's ever seen. I really don't feel that way. I don't know if it's just because, and this is another movie I almost saw and I just couldn't do it to myself, was the G.I. Joe, The Rise of Snake Eyes, or whatever the hell it's called.
I couldn't do
That I remember looking at you guys watching previews for that movie, and I'm like, I just want to see a kung fu movie so bad.
I was like, go watch It Man, bro.
Yeah. But then I got Shang-Chi, and I thought it was really fun. I thought Tony Leung, the guy who plays his father, I thought he was phenomenal in this movie. He gave a really strong performance. And I mean, I'm just gonna leave it as simple as like I like cool martial arts, and that movie had some cool martial arts in it.
It's fair.
Right? And then another fun one, The Matrix Resurrections. Fuck the fan base.
Yeah,
That's what I gotta say about Matrix Resurrections. I'll leave it there. Hey, I'm a sucker for love, so I love the idea of Neo and Trinity being the one together. Works for me.
Yeah.
Another one, Spider-Man No Way Home. Obviously, that's a good time. It's fun. My biggest problem with the movie, though, is not so much the fan service, but it's what the fan service does. It can't help but show you that all of the good Spider-Man stuff has already been done before, and that's why this Spider-Man has to fight everyone else's villains. I mean, in this Spider-Man series, the Vulture is really more of Tony Stark's villain. Mysterio hates Tony Stark. And then now with this new one, you get all of Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire's villains. It's just like, it's such a weird thing to me, and it seems like an indictment on Marvel of their inability to make really good villains, that they have to go back and get all the old villains.
Pull all the old ones from Sam Raimi's. Yeah.
But it was so much fun because I fucking love the original Spider-Man movies, and I don't know necessarily how I feel about the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I like the first one. I honestly can't say I really remember the second one, but I do know it's bad because I remember the blue Electro.
Yeah, that's bad.
I remember the horrible Dane DeHaan Green Goblin. Yuck.
Yeah.
It's just, I didn't have a good time with that one, but I thought Spider-Man No Way Home was a lot of fun. It's definitely not the best movie of the decade. It definitely doesn't deserve Best Picture. Get that bullshit out of my face.
But it's enjoyable.
Yeah, it's an enjoyable time. And, I mean, there's a ton more I could talk about, but I'll leave it with those ones.
Two more movies I wanted to bring up. One was the one fun one that I told you guys that I watched from Romania. So Bad Luck Banging. I thought that was really fun watch. It's a comedy from another country. That was really interesting to watch. And the other one that I thought you would have on your honorable mentions, and I think we should just at least touch upon, and I don't think you've seen it, is Annette.
Oh, Annette is on my list.
Oh, okay. So, but yeah, like Annette is. Oh, you're gonna talk about it, so never mind.
Another fun one I wanted to bring up, and I think Nate said we were talking about this off mic, was Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah, that one was fun too. Honestly.
I had so much fun with that. I don't think that okay, I'm not tired of superhero movies. I'm tired of Marvel movies looking almost identical, being so connected. Let's stop pretending that they're directed by anybody. A director comes in and gives their flavor, and then they Kevin Feige it, and he gets to say whatever he wants.
That's true.
So that's what I'm tired of, because the Batman, I'm busting at the seams for the Batman.
Exactly.
And it's just because DC is the other big dog making comic book movies.
The Cat in the Bat trailer, bro. I'm so
excited. Like, yeah, so
excited.
And I really liked Snyder's Justice League. I thought it was a huge pickup from the Joss Joss Whedon, fuck him. Who cares what his name is?
'Cause-
Look up allegations against him. You'll understand why I'm saying that. But that guy totally ruined Zack Snyder's vision. And I understand that some people don't like Man of Steel. I really do. Batman vs. Superman, I ain't going to hold you on that one. Yeah. That was not a good movie.
Yikes.
And it is not saved by its extended cut either. But this Snyder's Justice League, beautiful.
One of my favorite things is just seeing like how different edits really do just totally change the movie.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see Joss Whedon's, but exactly. But after the Snyder Cut came out, I saw like a YouTube video that was like showing scenes like side by side of Joss Whedon's and Snyder's. And that got me to watch the movie.
We're not talking about just a different edit. We're talking about recolor grading the movie.
Well, that movie really
re-editing the movie altogether, changing the aspect ratio of the movie, adding in plot points that we didn't get in the original one, making Steppenwolf an actual fucking character. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There was just so much that was better about this one. The Flash running backwards in time to that Junkie XL score is like pure cinema to me. That's one of my fucking favorite scenes this year. Fucking love the Zack Snyder Justice League.
You better watch it.
Yeah, I know. I almost said that fool's name.
Army of the Dead.
I do like that movie. Yeah. I like that one a lot. You know, hey, I know you two have a problem with Batista's reoccurring joke about what kind of diner he would open. Well, guess what? I got a problem with Jennifer Lawrence giving a shit about the bag of cheese that she had to pay for. Like, really? The world's coming? The world's ending? The comet's coming right at your face? You're like, why did he charge me for Cheez-Its? So funny.
Dude, I don't know. That shit in Army of the Dead just shows me like Zack Snyder really does struggle with dialogue.
Yeah.
He struggles so hard because he tries to get emotional. You know what? I'm going to open a fucking grilled cheese truck. And then 10 minutes later, you know what? Nah, it's not going to be grilled cheese. It's like, it's supposed to be this warm, heartfelt moment. I'm like, bro, get the fuck out of here. But Army of the Dead was cool.
Hey, Zombie Tiger. Case closed, okay? Zombie Tiger. Did your movie have a zombie tiger in it? I don't think so. Did it have the alpha zombie in it? Like, no, it didn't. Were the zombies possibly alien cyborgs? Maybe.
I still can't get over the fact that movie got a prequel and a sequel, though.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
The Deadiverse.
State of the cinema.
Yeah, that is a bit much. I will say that. But it has me excited. Army of the Dead and Snyder's Justice League have me reinvigorated with his career because I used to be anti-Snyder and now I've seen the light. My eyes are open.
I would agree.
It's a fun little turn for our honorable mention there. But, you know, I just think that goes to show what you're talking about. There's a lot of movies that were really good this year and a lot of movies we had fun watching.
Yeah, man. Do we want to talk about some stinkers, maybe?
I did.
Because I have a few stinkers.
I don't have any, but
I know you know them.
Yeah, like Halloween.
Yeah.
We've talked
Halloween
about
Kills
openly.
was the worst movie I seen this year.
I didn't see that movie, so I can't attest, but I did hear it when watching Dune.
Are you brave enough to say Space Jam 2 was one of the worst movies you've seen?
I mean, yeah, LeBron's not an actor.
You know what really broke me with that movie was seeing the Clockwork Orange guys cheering on LeBron James. Yeah, that's when I was like, what has happened?
Yeah.
At least Ready Player One made sense within the context of having all these characters, but we're in the Warner Brothers serververse.
What are the Droogs doing here? There's no Molotov cocktails here.
It's so funny. All right, I think I'm ready to get into the top 10 now.
All right.
After that.
I just got
to say Power of the Dog. It should not win Best Picture. Okay, sorry.
And neither should Don't Look Up.
He's like, he's hijacking the mic. Yeah, I think it's time we get into the top 10.
All right. Well, am I starting this one? Okay.
Yeah.
So my 10th favorite film of the year is what Alvaro had just brought up earlier, and it is Annette. I adore this movie. I love that it is unapologetically absurd, surreal, dramatic. I love the fact that almost every single line of dialogue is sung because I am not someone who's a huge fan of musicals. So for it to almost parody the act of musicals itself, it just it has me dying throughout the whole movie. Adam Driver playing a character named Henry McHenry just fucking gets me every single time. I love that Leos Carax just doesn't care. He's fully on board with how weird his movie is. If you haven't seen Annette, it's on Prime Video, and I highly recommend it. I think it's probably tied between Annette and The Last Duel for Adam Driver's best performance this year. We have not seen House of Gucci, but I'm gonna guess that one's not as
I
good.
can attest.
Hey, bro, that's a talophobia, bro.
It's a gabagoo.
Oh yeah, House of Gucci, the gabagoo. Hey, it's a me,
Also,
Adam Driver.
Baby Annette. Super.
Baby Annette, yes. I don't want to give away the twist about Baby Annette, but this is like the weirdest adaptation of like a Pinocchio story I've ever seen. I described it to you guys one time. I was like, imagine if Pinocchio was about the guy who stole Pinocchio and made him a slave. No, not Geppetto. What's his name? Stromboli?
Stromboli, yeah.
Yeah, this is the Stromboli side of Pinocchio.
Jesus.
So I had a lot of fun with that movie, and I highly recommend it. It's definitely weird, so if maybe watch the trailer first, but I loved everything about Annette.
Solid. I need to see that movie.
I did love that movie too. My 10th is Nightmare Alley. This is 2 episodes before this, or is that the last one we did? No, we did it with
was 2
Rocket.
before.
Mm-hmm. So obviously we did a podcast on it. I had a lot of fun with this movie just because it's a noir, not a type of film that we get very often. I've thought about how different color grading would make it interesting, the black and white. I really want to see it that way. Guillermo del Toro's back, obviously, after Shape of Water. I think he did. This is one of the films that we talked about earlier in the year where the directors just did what they thought was fun, like what they wanted to see in cinema, where they want to take it to places with what they grew up with. I thought that Guillermo del Toro did a good job in his adaptation of this. I know that the original one is like a cult classic. A lot of directors is like it's on their favorite films. I definitely want to go watch it now. This makes me want to go watch it, and I think that's probably the intent that Guillermo del Toro had with this movie.
Nice. I think we all can agree Nightmare Alley is a very good film.
Well, for my 10th film, I also have Nightmare Alley. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. Movie was awesome. GDT's back. Had one of the best beat 'em up scenes that I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
Really shocked me. So yeah, that was a really cool movie.
Sadly, this movie's bombing. And part of the reason why is because Disney owns Fox now. And just like they did with The French Dispatch, just like they did with The Last Duel, and just like they're doing with Nightmare Alley, they're purposely tanking movies they bought.
So
which,
weird.
not to get back into the state of cinema too much, but that really bugs me that
That's fucked up.
Disney bought a studio just for a little tiny bit of X-Men IP and Fantastic Four IP, only so they could throw away...
To drown everything else?
Yes, just to drown everything else, just like they did with The Empty Man as well. Shout out 2020.
The Empty Man.
Let's go, baby.
They did that to The
2020.
Empty Man as well. And The Empty Man is getting its day now that it's on HBO Max, but I just am not a fan of Disney doing this to the movie. Why did you buy these movies then?
Because, I mean, like, Nightmare Alley, like, the set pieces in that film, incredible. Bradley Cooper's maybe his best movie.
That's what I was
don't
going to
know,
say.
it's
I
up for
was
debate,
going to bring it
but-
up.
And to open it against Spider-Man is a joke. Why would you do that to your own movie?
I don't know.
Because they're not interested in it.
They don't care.
And again, what you're talking about, it's like side brushing this artist and director, Guillermo del Toro, as if he hasn't won, you know, just like
Best
mainstream.
Picture.
One of those acclaimed directors working.
The guy who made Pacific Rim and Hellboy is too niche now for people to go see his
Get
movies.
his green light for his movies, or like his movies not be released to fail.
To do an homage to basically cinema, too, by doing that. People, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever, Disney.
But obviously, you guys
Mickey
know
Mouse.
that we love this movie. We did a whole episode on it. So
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is I like a lot of Disney movies, of course, but the Disney executives, fuck those guys.
It's the way that they're handling things, yeah. I would agree.
All right. Number 9.
Number 9.
My number 9 is Lamb. I love this movie, especially after the second time I had seen it. I remember when we did the second episode, I said I wasn't sure if I liked or loved this movie. And now I know I love this movie. I watched it a second time and I got to show my wife. We watched it on like the A24 screening room. Shout out them. They should do that for Macbeth, and they should do that for everything else people can't see, because people are willing to watch these movies in any way. And I can attest to that because I watched Lamb on a freaking laptop the second time I seen it. But and my wife really enjoyed the film too. Super weird. I love the message of the movie. I thought the acting was phenomenal. I'm not gonna say too much because we have an episode on it. There's no point in really repeating myself and taking up airtime talking about how much I like this movie.
Yeah,
But
Lamb's a shit.
Lamb is the shit.
Yeah.
Definitely cool.
Lamb is really nice.
All right, bro. You ready for your number 9?
I have number 9. I have Red Rocket, which was the last episode before this one that we're recording. Again, don't want to touch up too much on it. Red Rocket had everything right about it. Rooting for the piece of shit. Don't know why, but I think that's what I think that's what makes a really good movie. I think it has to do with the whole Christmas thing. Watching it on Christmas always hits a different way. Yeah, I think the thing I like the most out of this movie is how it looks.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, beautiful movie. This needs to be nominated for some cinematography awards.
I think so.
For sure.
I think this is like, as someone who has, or we've talked about goals of trying to make our own movie, you see something like this, you're like, I don't need that much money to make a movie.
No.
Because look how much it looks just with film.
And
like,
using actors who are not popular or fresh faces.
Or
I know
even
Sean
actors.
Baker says that.
Yeah.
Now that he's getting more popular, he does have access to some of these actors, but he's worried about them being too famous for his movies. Like, I kind of want to use fresh faces and, do the whole Cassavetes thing of bringing people off the street who can act. And
It's just perfect for his movies. You know what I mean?
it definitely fits.
So that's my 9.
At number 9, I have Pig.
Nice.
I loved this movie. Like you said, Gus, we all cried separately for this movie. This was seriously one of Nick Cage's best roles ever, I think. Just absolutely incredible. Just such a.
It's better than National Treasure?
Yeah, it is.
No.
It is, and I love that movie. And number 2, but no, Nick Cage killed it. It was just such a, I don't know, it was such a touching story about, trying, like, chasing something that's already gone almost, and just, I don't know, it hit really hard. Movie was phenomenal. And that pig was so damn cute.
What was the other movie? You said I was like, don't watch these back to back because you might break.
Oh.
It was Pig, and it was something else that fucked me up, too.
Right? And I was like, be careful, Nate. I don't want you to go over the edge.
Oh, what was that? I can't remember, but yeah.
If you remember, just bring it back up.
I will.
But this brings me to my number 8, which is Pig.
Nice.
So I have it ranked one spot higher. There is going to be some overlap here, of course. I thought this was a beautiful meditation piece on grief and loss. And I loved that it was the anti-John Wick because that was like it almost seemed like a parody movie when you first hear about it, right? It's like, oh, Nicolas Cage is this guy who lives in the woods and he steals pig and he's going to go get it back.
And he goes to the city and he has to
okay,
find
this
it.
is going to be Nicolas Cage schlock like we're used to getting, right? No, it was not. It was easily one of his best performances of all time. And I know me and Nate, and I'm not too sure about Ro, but that me and Nate are like Cage heads. Like, no, this man is a revelation. You know what I mean?
so.
Like, this guy is one of the most interesting actors to ever act.
I think so.
And I really do feel that way about him. I will watch almost anything he's in. I know that I'm not going to say everything because some of them are just too bad. The director can't handle the power of Nick Cage. But when he's in the right hands, like when he was in Mandy or like Pig or a movie that teeters the line for me, and I know you don't like it, is Prisoners of the Ghostland, right? Or I know Ro likes this movie. Oh, was it this year? Because we could have brought it up in the honorable or the fun movies honorable mentions is Willy's Wonderland, right?
Oh,
like
that, yeah.
What a weird movie.
So he's in this stage now of his career where he's willing to like,
cool
this is how you think about me. Let me show you something different. And he did that with Willy's Wonderland, and that's not a good movie, but he carries that movie on his back.
Because what I'll even say about Prisoners of the Ghostland is he is my favorite part of that movie.
Easily.
Yeah, like he carries that movie 100%.
That's why we like Willy's Wonderland.
Yeah, because
of
Nick
it.
Cage is in it. I would have watched that
Dude,
fucking
no.
movie if he wasn't in it.
Willy's
No fucking interest in watching the movie.
But he just makes it so much fun.
What a
cool
pinball
character.
machine.
That's like I could watch him play pinball for like an hour.
And drinking the
dude.
grape soda.
Yeah, just power up.
Dude crushed like 20 grape sodas in one night.
What did you say? You like to think that's him after Mandy?
Yeah, that's like
That's why he has nothing to say.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, Pig, phenomenal film, phenomenal acting from Nick Cage. It's Michael Sarnowski's first movie. I would
that's
love to see this
crazy.
get nominated. Yeah, for a director to have such a strong grip on what they want out of their movie for being a first timer, I think I'm really excited to see what this guy's going to do.
You know what I want to see, which I don't think, because I don't think the Oscars have the nuts to do it, is nominate Nick Cage for Best Actor.
Do it, cowards.
They're not going to do it.
Do it,
But-
cowards.
Cowards!
Watch that movie and tell me he does not deserve a nod. Like, come on.
And if you are a Nicolas Cage detractor and you think he sucks,
Go
watch
watch
this
that
movie
movie.
and tell me otherwise.
It was so good that we want a movie just on what he was like, who that character was.
Oh
as a
yeah, I
chef.
said I'm not one of these people who thinks everything needs a prequel, sequel, spin-off show. Give me Feld, the movie about who is Robin, who is Chef Robin Feld,
Exactly.
because everyone in the town or the city of, I think it's Seattle, they all know who he is. So it's just this interesting character study about this guy who is suffering with a lot of loss. That's the last I'm gonna say about it. I really love Pig, and I think we'll probably do an episode on it in the future.
Yeah, Pig would have gotten his episode.
If we had been doing the
started
pod, yeah.
podcast,
So
yeah.
All right. That's my number 8, Pig.
Okay. So I have Drive My Car. So Hamaguchi, my first film from him. It's about an actor who is dealing with some loss, and he's working on giving like a script, and he's having all these people audition. He's a highly.
Is this a new play or
it's
show?
his new play, yeah.
Okay.
It's good. He's like this highly respected author. What's really cool about this movie is he has this red Sab, and I think it's from like in the 90s or something.
Yeah.
It's so cool, but like
It's in the car.
I would say it's the car of the year. You know what I mean? Like because I've read a lot about this movie where people think obviously the critics are eating this movie up. This movie is probably going to be on one like top 5 for people, and this movie is really really good. But it's about dealing about loss. It's emotional. Like the emotional space is shared in that red Sab. A lot of the movie takes place on him heading towards places. He gets this driver. The driver has her own emotional things that she's dealing with, and then he kind of becomes close with her. And it's basically just that. What would you call a slice of life type of like lifestyle
slice of life movies.
Yeah, and it's so interesting to just get that aspect for someone that is dealing with. It's a great movie to watch if you need help.
It's like a little
dealing
peek
with
into
loss.
someone's life.
Yeah, and it's my first, and maybe not my first, but one of the ones that I can remember, like Japanese movies that I've seen. We've watched a lot of Korean movies. They have different, like, the way their culture is very different, you know?
Obviously.
And, yeah, this movie, I know we're going to watch it, and we're probably going to do an episode on it, and I can't wait to do that episode.
Sounds banging. I really want to see that movie.
Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot of people talk very highly of it, so be exciting to see. All right, what is this? This is number 8? All right. Come on.
Nice.
What a movie. This was one that I let out a tear in the theater for this. This was,
Denzel in Glory, the one
It
tear.
was just one fat tear, but no, this movie was really cool. I really appreciated Mike Mills' vision for this movie on how we all go through tough times and bonding and learning and growing up with the people around you, and it was just such a cool movie. It was beautiful. That's all I gotta say. I love this movie.
Listen to our episode.
It was so good.
This is this episode of on Come On was the one where we kind of just talked about how it felt to watch that movie, and I think that says a lot about what the movie's intention is and what it did while watching it, because it was really hard for me to keep it out of the top 10 after. I was like, oh damn, there's again nothing wrong with that movie.
Yeah, it's just personal taste, right? The other movies just hit you a little harder, or might be more of what you would like look for in a movie, you know?
It was nice to have some inspiration. It was an inspirational movie.
Yes.
I liked it.
Yes.
Hopeful.
So, Come On is my number 7.
Is this how it's gonna go?
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna go. It might go this way the rest of the way. I don't know. But Come On is number 7 on my list. Same thing. This is just a beautiful movie about a relationship we don't see too often portrayed in cinema, the uncle and nephew. It's an uncle-nephew movie. We rarely get those, or as far as I can tell. In America, we don't get those that often. Yeah. Yeah. Watch Uncle Buck. That's my favorite movie of 2021, Uncle Buck.
Uncle Rico.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the opposite. Yeah. Uncle Rico is the anti-Joaquin Phoenix.
Boy.
Yeah, I really love this movie, and I went to see it again after we recorded the episode. I took my wife to go see it, and I didn't cry the first time, but the second time it just shattered me. It really broke me. I was in there, my mask was all wet from crying. Like, I don't know. I just think the way that the children were portrayed in this movie, even though they're real children, but the light that they put on kids, it's rarely something you see in cinema, to have the kids like actually say how they feel and like that they're important. You know what I mean? Like, I like seeing like the kids being heard.
Almost lead the themes being led by them. The kids of the movie.
Exactly. I won't go into it too much more, but I just thought this was a really beautiful, tender, warm, loving film.
This is one that everybody
I feel like we don't get that as often anymore. It's either going to be superhero or some kind of gritty, dark story. You know what I mean? And I kind of miss having a nice time at the theater and feeling better about life when I walk out of the movies. Yeah. Because even the movies that are higher up on my list, some of them, they don't make me feel like that.
Yikes.
But they make you feel that in naughty ways. Yeah. But yeah. But Titan and Benedetta, hot. yeah, for Come On to just give me that nice movie that I've been looking for, it just felt really good. So thank you, Mike Mills.
That's
Like
a
I said
perfect
the
way to
last
say
time.
it.
For real.
We're at 7.
Yeah, that's 7.
Okay, so talking about Vendetta, that's my number 7 film. Wow.
It's not your favorite.
Wow. Benedetta was the first episode we decided to make midweek for a reason. Obviously, it's hot, to say the least. We were talking about Paul Verhoeven before the podcast.
Oh yeah. Can one of you confirm the movie though, so I don't get it wrong?
But it doesn't matter what movie he said. It was James Cameron, right?
Yeah, but
You want to make sure it's on the set of
True Lies,
I'll look
right?
it up.
I can't even be sure about it because I haven't seen it.
James,
But
yeah,
there's this funny little anecdote about James Cameron kind of just shooting strays at Paul Verhoeven for no
He
reason.
doesn't deserve it.
Let's see. Does anybody have it yet?
Oh, no.
I'm googling it. The truth.
Okay, yes, it is True Lies.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
on the set of True Lies, James Cameron and Arnold Schwarzenegger were getting into it, and James Cameron threatened to quit and have Paul Verhoeven direct this movie and said, "Is that what you want?" I was just, what the fuck?
It could have been awesome.
I thought that's what I want to say. That's why I wanted to bring it up. Is hey, maybe it would have been
Maybe it would have been better.
hot.
Right?
Yeah.
It would have been hotter.
So Benedetta obviously not going to win any awards this season. This
The
is
cowards would never.
they would never. But oh my god, what's not to like about this movie? The way it's shot, also the scenes where the skies is like the meteors crashing. Oh
Yeah,
my
the comet.
god, the comet.
comet.
Sorry, the comet. Wow.
Comets are really on the brain this year.
Just the tensions between
The characters.
the characters in this movie, just everything about this movie. So
Benedetta's sick.
we did the whole episode. I don't have to say much more, but that's my number 7, Benedetta.
All right, my number 7 is PTA's Licorice Pizza. It could have been higher on this list. It also could have been. I don't know. All these movies are so close for me, honestly. But Licorice Pizza was just so refreshing to see PTA back, and it was just such a fun movie. I took it as it was a very lighthearted, funny movie. Just kind of these kids going all over the place, and it was shot absolutely beautifully and we've talked about it. It's like a dream San Fernando Valley. Like, it was beautiful. So, Licorice Pizza I really liked. It was cool to go see that early. Licorice Pizza was a shit.
I have one thought, just based off of the episodes that we talked about and everything about this movie, because he said he wrote it because the other stuff that he was writing was
working
too
on
dark.
heavier stuff, heavy dark
And
stuff.
think about how heavy that stuff is for him to have written this.
I can't
So
wait.
I cannot wait. It's
He's
like,
like,
what's so
"Ah, man."
heavy? Let me make something fun.
Waking up in a cold sweat. I got to write something heavy.
Comes out with fucking wet bottom
Soggy
jokes,
bottom.
soggy
Yeah.
bottom jokes.
I will hold my peace on Licorice Pizza because it's higher up on my list, so I'll have more to say when I get there. But that would take me to my number 6 movie, which I'm pretty sure is higher on your guys' list. But like we said, at this point, these movies are all basically number 1. They're all kind of tied for number 1. And that would be Denis Villeneuve's masterpiece, Dune. Supposedly, I've seen on Twitter, and I hope it's not a joke, if you start the movie at a certain time, the throat singers will come on the screen and start singing at midnight. We're going to have to check
For
that
New
out.
Year's? Sick.
What is there to say about Dune that hasn't been said already? Powerful performances from the actors, Timothée Chalamet and Rebecca Ferguson, Oscar Isaac, Babe.
Yep.
Yeah, I know.
Mega Babe, Oscar Isaac.
That beard, though.
Our king, Oscar Isaac. Love him in this movie. My boy, Jason Momoa, right?
Thinking about that.
Boy.
Nobody's doing it like Denis Villeneuve is right now. On the scale of big filmmakers, I think he's overtaken Christopher Nolan as like the top dog of making big, loud cinema.
He just wants to keep getting bigger, too. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly. I'm excited for his next project that is not Dune related. Is it Rendezvous, with
Rendezvous
Rama?
at Rama. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Not too sure. I've heard what it's about. Not gonna pretend like I'm a big fan of it, but I'm really hyped to see it.
I
I
read
might
that
have to
book.
check out the book.
It's going to be fucking good.
What do you think? Should I just not see the movie or not read the book and watch the movie when it comes out?
Nah. Honestly, maybe read the book. This might be a good one where you actually read the book before you go see it.
If I wanted to read the book, I'd watch the movie.
Well, then why'd you ask me?
But yeah, number 6 on my list is Dune.
Nice.
And that was the first episode we made right off the cuff because it was on HBO Max.
Yeah, we were watching it on
the
HBO
couch.
Max, sitting on the couch recording. Dune is probably something I would like to dive back into in the new year. Talk about it in more detail, especially since I've had time for it to really wash over me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Denis Villeneuve forever. Give me more Dune.
Honestly.
Yeah. 6, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I have one of my favorite. Again, like you said, everything past this is like honestly their favorite films of
They
the
could probably
year.
be tied.
Yeah, like they. I think each one of these past this is in my new top 200 films that I like that I've watched in my whole life. Spencer, Pablo Larraín. Haven't seen anything else, but wow, this made me want to watch all the other work that he has. This movie definitely looks the best out of any of the movies that we saw this year. In terms of maybe there was CGI. I don't think there was any CGI, but
I couldn't imagine.
it was believable that this was just shot like this was Princess Diana. I really liked the twist that it took in the story. Yeah, we had the whole episode on it, obviously. So not much more to say, but this movie, I think we'll get her. I know I get her the nomination. I hope she wins because of this movie.
I've seen she's been nominated by like 17 different critics.
It's crazy.
Film associations or film bodies, and that's the most out of any actress who's been nominated this year.
This is the most I've cared about like British hierarchy ever. So
But hold that thought. You might feel differently once we talk about another movie.
okay.
Anyways,
okay.
go ahead.
But the other reason is I know you guys probably have this film up higher too. You guys will touch up where I'm obviously lacking in describing it, but it's lovely.
Well, speaking of Spencer, I also have Spencer at my number 6. Yeah, dude, this movie was so cool. I honestly think that she does deserve the Best Actress award, like to win it. I don't think anybody really comes closer this year. This movie really surprised me about what it was. Like I really thought it was gonna be more of a biopic, but it wasn't. It was more of like a view to Princess Diana, like from the inside out almost. And I thought that was a really good movie. It was really cool. Super fucking stylistic.
Yes.
The clothing in that movie was phenomenal. The wardrobe was awesome. And yeah, I think that
Her badass Porsche.
yeah, oh my, so cool.
The colors, that's why I like the yellow dress, the red car.
But
No, it's green. It's dark green Porsche.
Oh, dang.
Okay.
Okay.
You're thinking about the Saab.
Yeah.
drive my car.
Yeah. that red song.
But no, this movie was phenomenal. I really like this. Like you said, it's the most that I've ever cared about, British hierarchy ever. So Spencer was awesome.
That takes me to my number 5, which is Benedetta.
Nice.
Right? We already talked about it a little bit. We obviously have the episode on it. What I will say about Benedetta is that I think Virginie Efira seriously needs to be considered in these awards races. I thought she gave a phenomenal performance. One of the things that really got me is that she's in her 40s, I believe, and she's playing a 25-year-old. Like, I couldn't believe that. Like, she looks so much younger than her age. Not that it matters or anything, but it really caught me off guard. Paul Verhoeven just not giving a fuck, making whatever he wants. We need more old pervy directors.
He said, hold my everything. I'm going in, yeah.
I mean, I don't actually mean that, but I just think it's funny that an 80-year-old man made the sexiest movie of the year. For sure.
Yeah. Without a doubt, in my opinion.
Yeah, don't have much more to say. It's on Prime Video now to rent. If you're interested in seeing a super hot movie about Jesus slicing up serpents, go see Benedetta.
Awesome.
And I will move on from Benedetta.
Before I get myself in trouble.
Yeah. What do they say in court? Like I give up the rest of my time. No. I give up the rest of my time. Yeah, go ahead. You can have it. I don't need it.
I don't need it.
Oh man.
5. Wow. Okay, so I have Memoria at number 5. This was my first. I'm not even really gonna try to say his first name, but his whole name Apichapong Wirasethical.
Supposedly, you say it just how it looks.
Yeah,
so.
he likes going as Joe.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
Okay. That works for me.
I can appreciate it, So this is my first film by him. Apparently, his films are very, very, very slow, and this one apparently is like a highway for him. Okay, so I really like his style. I think the payoff in this movie, it's a very slow movie about this Scottish farmer. She's visiting her sister in Colombia. And I think that's why I really like this movie. We have her English dynamic talking to them, those that can understand. But Tilda Swinton starts talking Spanish in a majority of this movie, and I just think that impresses me so much with her
On
acting.
an acting level.
Yeah, like it because it doesn't sound butchered.
She's a stud.
Yeah, wow. Like every time, she's also an actress that every time I see her, like she's in something, I've like, it piques my attention. Like I need to at least read what this is about. But this movie, you think it's about something, it's not about that. It ends up taking its turns. It reminded you a lot about In the Earth. This movie should win. Like if it got nominated for stuff, I think it should win stuff in the sound category. It is a movie about tripping out auditorily, and I think that's a crazy thing to go for.
Talking about the state of cinema, it's not available for us to watch.
I know.
You were lucky to get access to a screening, but not all of us are that lucky. And the way that they're going about distributing this movie, to me, is a joke. And it sucks that they're doing it like this, which is it's never going to be on Blu-ray. It's never going to be available to stream. They're going to take it city to city, showing people who want to see it.
Yeah.
And, okay, well, what if it never comes to my city? Fuck me then.
Yeah.
I don't get to watch your movie.
It's a bummer.
That is not, I don't know how that's a way to get more people to see your movie. Or that's cool that you have this weird little like societal like experiment that you want to do about like people seeing your movie, but for the people who are really willing to support this, you're making it hard for them to see.
It's a
I think
It's a very pretentious way to release a movie.
yeah. That's what I was
very art. That's where the fartsy stuff comes in, and
I guess I'll go see Spider-Man again.
and I mean Neon's distributing it too. So, but Joe, that's the way that he wants to show it. Whether that's the
Cool.
way he likes it, but
It's a good way for 100,000 people to see it only.
yeah, and that's what's weird is I think at one point those directors, because he's from Thailand, it starts to become they just do it to be kind of like artsy. This film, I made this film, and if you're lucky, you'll see it. And what if you don't even like it? Is the funny part. Like people who do see it don't like. I can see people hating it because it's very slow. Like it definitely, it could drag for some people. But I can't wait to be able to watch this with you guys.
I'm very excited
Because I know we'll make do an episode on it because it's very good.
Okay.
Nice. All right. My number 5, I have Sean Baker's Red Rocket. Obviously, we just did the last episode on this. We've kind of already talked about it, but the cinematography was off the chain. I'm a big fan of Sean Baker and his ability to show you some real shit, like talk about some things that maybe people don't really want to talk about or acknowledge. So, this movie kind of reminded me a lot with the colors of, reminded me of Paris, Texas in a way. But yeah, I thought this was awesome. Simon Rex killed it.
Big fan of Nito, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Dirt Nasty. Simon Rex, formerly known as Dirt Nasty. But yeah, he did a really good job, and I thought Susanna Sun did a really good job as well. And the direction in this movie, I think, is what really killed it. So, great movie.
I think I like that you brought up that the Bye 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 wasn't supposed to be such an integral part.
Yeah,
to it.
I thought that was cool. Is apparently in the original screenplay that Bye 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 was not incorporated in it, and Susanna Sun, who was the piano teacher, decided to use it, and now it's stuck in all our fucking heads. So we can't get it out. So
I love it.
no, Red Rocket was cool.
I'm not going to add too much to the Red Rocket talk, but what I will say that I've seen in an interview since watching the movie, and I didn't get to mention this in the podcast, is that Sean Baker met Susanna's son, I think at the ArcLight, like after a screening one day. They were just kind of out there and then started talking, and then he found out who she was, and he just said that she was kind of always in his mind of like someone that would be good to put into a movie, and then when it was time to make Red Rocket, he thought of her and she was down.
Right on.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Talking about the state of cinema too, with you brought up Red Rocket again. I saw that like Sean Baker's like super super happy to anybody to go see his film. He's talking about like even in his post, like how there's the rollout for all the theaters that have it. The theater that we go to in Orange is on there, and he's just talking about every view counts to him. Like he loves that anybody will go watch his movies, and I think I'm very interested in where his career is going to go.
Probably even dirtier and nastier
That's what
and more underbelly. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm wondering to see. Is he going to go, is he going to keep going down, or is he going to go, like,
he does say
do big budget or something?
He did say that that's where he intends to stay.
Good.
On the lower end.
I like it.
Fresh faces. He said he's worried some actors are too famous for him because he doesn't want to really work with people who are known for their face more than their acting ability.
Makes sense.
I guess that's not a shot, but
I do want to see that though. I want him to at least later try, maybe keep doing this for a couple of years, but I do want to see him try something big. Obviously, give him Batman.
No. Oh, I wasn't. That broke my brain. I didn't even know how to react other than no. That's not what I want to see.
That's so funny.
I do not like that.
He does a new Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Spider-Man's homeless and has to figure out.
Give
how to
him
live on his
Morbius.
You know, they talk about making the Spider-Man movie again about the guy like, "Where's my rent?" That'd be the Sean Baker Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, man.
All right, so we were at number 5, right?
Now we're on 4.
Okay, now we're at number 4. So my number 4 is Spencer.
Nice.
This movie is just one that really stuck with me throughout the whole year. Absolutely love it. Pablo Larraín, great direction. Kristen Stewart, amazing acting, cinematography, beautiful. I was making a joke to you guys off the mic that this had the most effective horror thriller elements out of any movie I've seen this year.
So
even the ones that
unexpected.
were meant to be scary.
Agreed.
Yeah, so that's my take on Spencer. Spencer forever. I hope it wins multiple awards. I could see it pulling a lot of awards because of how Kristen Stewart's been nominated, but also because Jackie was a big awards player back when he made that movie. So they're aware of him, and Kristen Stewart's getting a lot of buzz for this performance. And from what we can tell from our listeners is they enjoyed this movie as well.
Seems like it.
Yeah, so I haven't really seen too many people have too many bad things to say about this movie, and for me, it's my top 5. Really love this movie.
Besides the shit poster on the YouTube one.
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure Queen Elizabeth Burner account got onto our pod. It was spewing hate on Diana.
Walked into the movie, thought it was really boring.
I didn't like her attitude.
And then they said that when they
Walked
watched
out
it on
midway.
YouTube,
Yeah.
they watched the whole thing on YouTube.
It was
and
better.
It was better. Yeah. Right.
Probably watched like a documentary.
If you're listening to this, viewer, I challenge you to debate us about this movie.
Leave another comment.
The Queen Elizabeth Burner account.
So funny.
All right, so number 4, Ro.
Okay. So I have the Green Knight. The Green Knight I know means a lot to us. At 4, which is like really hard. This is a movie that David Lowery had me after watching Ghost Story. That was his last movie before this.
Not Peace Dragon.
I
That's weird.
Out of my mind.
So I really like his style. This is a movie that I watched 4 times, and every single time I watched after it, I was like, I really like this movie. And I don't know how much love is going to get in award season.
None.
I don't think none. But this movie is one of those that holds a special place. I know to all 3 of us. This was like almost the idea to start the podcast came from how much we all liked. It was like an initiation. It was like the test, like the red pill, blue pill. Like it was like,
The
oh, you
green
want to make
pill.
a you want to
Green
make
Knight,
you want to
Red
make a podcast? Yes. What do you think about the Green Knight? I mean, like, oh, whatever you have considering on it. Be like, okay, I think we can make a podcast since we all like the Green Knight.
Green Knight is a movie that brought me and Nate together.
It's a litmus
I didn't
test.
know Nate before the Green Knight.
Exactly.
And the first time I hung out with them, we went to go see the Green Knight, all of us. I was like, this guy's down.
The table we sit on and the chairs that we sit on, Gus got because it gave Green Knight vibes.
Yeah.
They're literally green. So.
Yeah.
Green, my favorite color.
So the Green Knight obviously holds a special place at the Grand Cinema Hotel. But more about the film. Brian, what is it? In it, Ralph Ineson.
Yeah.
It has Ralph Ineson in it as a Green Knight, which I like his voice a lot. So, and I think obviously him and all that makeup and stuff and the way he carries himself makes the Green Knight like, out of a lot of the horror films that we watched this year, his laugh as he's storming off out of the castle is still one of like the, oh my God.
It's so
You're
maniacal.
Like you know that he's made from the witches, you know? And so obviously I cannot wait to make this episode. We've been nervous to even try to approach this
I don't
episode.
want to do this episode.
How do we? Yeah, we don't want to flub it. So.
Yeah.
Because this movie means so much to us and we have so much to say
I
on it.
guarantee you this would be the longest episode we do. The Green Knight.
And I'm bringing it up at 4, which is probably, I'm the first one that's bringing it up. They're
You're
probably
giving
going
it
to
the
talk a
lowest
bit more.
ranking out
Yeah,
of the three of
you
us.
2 are going to definitely talk about it more. So that was my number 4.
Right on. That takes me to my number 4, which is Benedetta. You guys have kind of already crushed it. Paul Verhoeven, everybody in that movie, it was shot beautifully. I thought it was very interesting as a story. The fact that it was based on some shit that happened way back in the day, I thought was really cool. And also just the fact that this movie really did come out of nowhere for us. It was like all we knew nothing about it. And then like a week and a half before it hit the theaters, we saw a trailer for it. We were like, what the fuck is that? Went and saw it, and we fell in love with it. So I think that's really cool. I feel like that doesn't happen super often where something just kind of sweeps our legs, like that. But yeah, Benedetta was awesome. If you like weird shit, go see that movie. Benedetta is really cool.
If you want to champion the weird, watch Benedetta.
Mm-hmm.
The one last thing I'd have to say on Benedetta is it worked out that we saw Licorice Pizza early because we didn't watch Don't Look Up, right? And then Benedetta squeezed in too.
Yeah.
And those two movies are better. Like it worked out that we saw those movies because we definitely loved.
They're definitely
those
more of
movies.
our taste.
It was almost like Jesus kind of put it in our lap.
Exactly.
Watch this, my children.
I've been looking into Catholicism.
I might revert back to Catholicism after Benedetta. Probably not though. This priest really gave Catholicism a bad image.
Oh my God.
He brought the plague in.
Yeah.
For real.
So Benedetta.
So that's my
banger.
number 4. Yeah.
Okay.
Great film.
So we're at 3.
We're at 3 now.
Top 3. Oh man. All right.
Here we go. And I have number 3, Licorice Pizza. Have you seen the tweet? I think Ro has seen it, but someone had tweeted it's like James Stewart voice. A licorice pizza.
I can hear it so well.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Whoever you are on Twitter, that was.
I think that was
so funny.
something we've talked about before. A little like the James Stewart, just how an actor like that solidified. Just there isn't many actors like that anymore. But you just say that one thing, and I could hear him saying.
Exactly. And I butchered the impersonation, but. We all know James Stewart's a licorice pizza. Yeah. Oh man! Speaking of James Stewart, I'm like having it's like I have a crush on a guy who's been dead forever. Like, I recently watched Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, and a couple weeks ago I watched It's a Wonderful Life because it's Christmas. They really don't make them like that anymore. Not to take shots at the acting community as a whole, but they're definitely not as good as they used to be. Sorry to say it, but my number 3 is Licorice Pizza. Getting off track here.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Licorice Pizza has 2 non-actors acting in it, which I thought was a big, bald move from Paul Thomas Anderson. It's like a family connection. He's known both of these people for multiple years now. Not going to really add to too much of what we already said in the pod, but it gave me the tingle feeling walking out of the cinema. You know what I mean? Like, I just knew I had seen something that was special to me. There's maybe 1 or 2 things in this movie that don't work. I'm gonna say like the accent. I'm sure people know what we're talking about. It's lack of plot, I guess, for me is not personally something that bugged me, but
Me neither.
I guess I could see where people are coming from. But I really, really like this movie, and I hope it gets the love it deserves. And it also kind of like Come On. I mean, depending on how you feel about the subject matter, if you're taking a hard stance on it one way or the other, but this was like a lighthearted, fun movie, and it was a good time at the movies, and I didn't feel crushed when I walked out, and I've been appreciating that lately because just so many movies are like that. And for Paul Thomas Anderson to become like, to really take that like family man turn of like I'm not gonna be such an edgelord anymore. I really appreciated that, and I think we need a little more of that in movies nowadays. Everyone's so edgy.
Yeah, exactly. But no,
can agree with
Licorice
that.
Pizza was awesome.
Yeah, so that's my number 3, Licorice Pizza.
Damn. So number 3, I have Dune.
Was it all that throat singing that made you clear your?
Yeah, exactly. I have Dune. Denis Villeneuve holds a special place in my heart, obviously. So this movie, we talked about it on the podcast. Just a little recap. Me and you talked about it a year ago. Well, probably 2 years ago now, actually, when it first got announced. Yeah. I think you hit in this movie. I think what I was telling Gus and Nate earlier was that a lot of people get the budget for stuff and they don't.
Looks like shit.
It looks like shit. These directors that are acclaimed sometimes get the money and they still just really focus on the story, and then it just seems like they kind of just, oh yeah, let's use this money on the effects, or let me lend it off. But it seemed to Denis Villeneuve that is still everything was revolving around him, and he really did make me feel like we were in an off planet in the future.
Like a documentary of a future planet.
Exactly.
You're reading one of Paul's books.
Yeah, and I think the the subject, I think it comes from knowing the subject matter is so hard to tackle. I mean, even as much as I like this movie, the books are still, just so much more fits in there, so much more to like in your brain. There's no limitations. And I think this film does a very good job of making it as realistic as possible.
I'll say that he's so good that it didn't seem like it was that hard to finally do, right? Kind of just seems like this falls in line with what I would expect from Denis Villeneuve, and that's being awesome and amazing.
I think this would, you talked about, it would be the big Chad move to win Best Picture.
It won't though.
It won't.
But it should.
But I think
Probably
this
should.
this like is the perfect mixture of both. Like where you do have that big salary or that big like budget, and he delivers. And we talked about this movie. We'll probably talk about it more in the future. Gus had already highlighted the My Boy and stuff like that. So, but yeah, this is my number 3.
I got plenty more to say about Dune, especially since this is a franchise that we're going to be getting more of. I'm sure we'll cover 2. I'm sure we'll cover the 3rd one, and in between, do more episodes that we would consider like deep dives on them.
Even do the Jodorowsky's Dune.
Yeah, David Lynch's Dune.
Dune does hold like a. Now that there's a movie for me to like, I've seen Dune. It holds a special place in my heart. It's my Star Wars, as people would say, my original Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that way too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I do too.
It's peak cinema. Honestly, it's why people go to the movies, is to see things like that.
For real.
Yeah,
That's what's worth seeing in Dolby Digital and IMAX, stuff like that.
Definitely.
So that takes me to the same planet that we're on right now, Arrakis, because my number 3 is also Dune. Dude, I mean, like you said, it was Dune. And I just think that it's super cool to have a director like Denis Villeneuve who can handle these extremely large sci-fi movies. Like, there's not a director now that I think can do that.
He's the sci-fi king.
He is the sci-fi king of our generation, and I think that's fucking awesome.
And it's high art. It's not just schlock.
Exactly. It's not like some sci-fi channel shit that they push out, It's not Battlestar Galactica. Like, it's Dune, and it's Arrival, and now he's going to do Rendezvous at Rama. Like, the dude who wrote that book is a dude that wrote 2001. Like, he's really hitting all the classic science fiction. So I just think that it's awesome. Yeah, Dune was fucking sick, and I cannot wait for...
We give it a gold star.
Yeah,
like
dude,
a gold star movie.
Stars.
We all feel special about that.
Dune was awesome. And to be able to go see that in theaters, like, weekend that it came out, it was just really cool.
It's like when we joke about, and I really do hope this happens, that's why I'm putting it on there, like Robert Eggers do Van Helsing. But like when like when you say something like, oh, I hope Denis Villeneuve does Dune like a couple years back, and then it happens and it works out exactly how you like. This is why I wanted him to have it, and that's what this is that you finally give a director the big project and they deliver. So,
and to know that he's going to keep on that train it gets me super excited. So,
like I said, just peak cinema, because it's like,
it really is, dude. The bagpipes blaring with the ships crashing and Josh Brolin running with the dudes, like a tear in my eye every time I watch it. I think the 3rd or 4th time I watched Dune, like it made me cry. I was like, this is so beautiful. Like, I can't believe I'm watching this.
I always just think about the opening scene with Zendaya, like describing Arrakis and what's happening on it, and just all those different shots that look like concept art.
And every actor has a moment to shine in this movie, which is something I really personally love about the movie.
Perfect direction.
Yeah, I mean, Dune. Give me more worms. And give me a half gram of that Shai Hulud.
And the memes,
the discourse, the memes.
I remember it. Like, yeah,
we were a united timeline
for Dune. For the worm.
The mass is united for Shai Hulud.
Yes, we all worshipped. I'm old enough to remember when we liked Dune and we didn't have Don't Look Up yet.
Seriously.
Oh,
Times
man.
was simple.
You know what I want to say, though? Because you were talking about the budget, right? Is that Don't Look Up had a $75 million budget, which I know is less. But that movie looked like shit.
That's for the actors, my boy.
Yeah. They spent $10,000 on Timothée Chalamet's wig, $10,000 on getting, or $100,000 on getting Ariana Grande. I mean, I'm making these numbers up, but that movie looked like fucking shit. And there's a scene in that movie, spoiler alert, where they're in space.
Spoiler alert.
Shit look like Speed Racer, bro. Be like, and I love Speed Racer.
Yeah.
But
And
I can accept that Speed Racer looked like that because it was 2008, not
They
2021.
spent $5 fucking million on the Ariana Grande concert.
I will say that part when they're in space reminded me of when the big boy is in space in Austin Powers.
That's about as good as it looks. And it's 21 years later.
That's what I mean.
One of those
The
movies
budget
is not Austin Powers.
the budget in Dune was being used like when Stanley Kubrick got the budget for 2001. Like
Definitely.
invent some shit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do something.
Exactly. I mean, this is a kind of not to compare them quality wise because I don't want to get killed for this, but it's like James Cameron, like where his levels of making movies.
Right.
Like honestly, there's very few directors who get to do this with. Not gonna say Dune's original content or anything, but getting to take a chance on something that we were not for sure about.
Because the fool took a risk.
He
Like
did.
we didn't even
Could
know
have
if we were
bombed
gonna
his
get part
entire
two.
career.
People thought it was cursed.
Yeah.
And he was already on thin ice after Blade Runner 2049 of maybe getting kicked back into making indie movies or small budget movies.
You're going back to A24, buddy.
Crazy.
Literally. Go make
Movies
another
is your
Prisoners. Yeah. But this will take me to my number 2.
All right.
Right? Because Dune was your 3?
Dune was 3.
Okay, Dune was your 3. So my number 2 is Titan.
Oh my God.
Our debut episode. What a time.
Jesus.
I felt so good walking out of the theater. And this is what I mean about like in a naughty way. You know what I mean? Like this was not the kind of movie that makes you smile like, oh, that was nice. No. This movie makes you feel like shit. And I just had the best time watching this. 15, 20 minutes in, I just remember looking at you guys like, what the fuck? And like, that's really how I felt about this movie. The more time that passes, I just love it more and more. I won't go into too much detail because we've already done a 2-hour episode on The Joint, but I fucking love Titan, and it's a shame that movies like that don't really get recognized. They will on an international level. I mean, she won the Palme d'Or for it, but now people are saying, like, were they trolling giving it to Titan? Like, were they just trying to be different? But, you know, if Julia Ducournau wanted to get nominated for an Oscar, she wouldn't have made Titan. She would have made something else.
Exactly.
So that at least gives me some hope, you know, that she just probably doesn't give a shit about this, or she wouldn't have made something like Titan.
She's doing what she wants to do.
Yeah, and what I cannot wait to see what she does next.
For real. Oh, God. It'd be crazy.
Yeah, strap in, buddy. We're going full tilt. Be like,
Oh, my God.
So I'll leave it at that. Titan is my number 2.
You introduced it. My number 2 is Titan too. I think ever since you first sent us the trailer on it, we're already standing Neon at that point. So I was like, oh, Neon's got this. It just delivered in such a way that I didn't think a movie like this would get made.
The unexpected.
Just,
right?
oh my God. Just, you don't know where this movie's going.
No.
And I think that's what's going to be fun about this movie. Another movie that holds a gold star, everyone that we talk about past the Dune. That every time you show it to somebody, it's just going to hold some new weight. Like
It's the kind of movie you show somebody and you just watch them the whole time.
Yeah,
Like, I'm not even
exactly.
watching the movie. I just want to see how you react to it.
oh, you like weird stuff? Like, let's see. We'll
Okay. Let's see how weird you want to get. Ka-chow.
see. Yeah. And, oh, man, what's it? Like you said, 2-hour episode on it, Titan.
I still have more to say about that movie.
I know.
Yeah.
And I still only seen it one time because it's so special to me that I want to wait until it feels like I'm going to watch it for the first time again. Because I just know, I know what a good time I had, and I'm scared of losing that feeling. So I've been a little nervous to watch it again, maybe with some fresher eyes. And yeah, man, Titan is number 2 for both of us.
Tons of shit.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
All right, my number 2, The Green Knight. It was very hard for me to pick between my number 1 and number 2. So I honestly just kind of, in my own head, I consider them number 1, part 1, and number 1, part 2.
1A, 1B.
Exactly. But no, The Green Knight was a movie that I had been waiting for. I know we all have been waiting for a long time. Just to get, just to be in that world, to get immersed in the world that David Lowery kind of created for that movie was so immersive. And I just really, the whole idea of the movie I loved, like, just almost, like, I'm going to put it very bluntly, but stacking up and facing your own problems and understanding that you have to create the world that you want to live in, and, only you can do that. That's all I'll really get into it, but The Green Knight was incredible. So
I think one of the points we had talked about before was that we all didn't get the movie we thought we were getting either, and we still love it.
Yeah, definitely. So we all did our number 2s, right? Okay, this brings me to my number 1, which is The Green Knight.
Bow, bow, bow.
This to me is my shit. Like, this is exactly what I like about movies and what I want to see out of movies. You get the fantasy aspect, which I'm a big fan of. I've always liked fantasy stuff. Dev Patel, no one has ever looked better on screen. I know. He's so sexy in this movie. But I just watched it right before we started recording because I have it on DVD. Sorry, I have it on Blu-ray. But I've seen this movie maybe 7 or 8 times now. I saw it 4 times while it was in the theater. I saw it 3 times, and then I watched it when they did the screening room of it. Every time I watch this movie, I'm reminded of why I think it's a perfect movie. The cinematography, the acting, the direction, the scale of it, the story itself, and like the message in the movie of like, yeah, facing up and taking control of your own life and like creating your story. I just fucking love this movie. I don't have enough good. I have too many good things to say about this movie. That's how I'll put it.
I have nothing bad to say about this.
Yeah, this movie just does it for me, and I can't wait to talk about this movie. This movie is the reason we have the podcast in the first place. We had thought about The Green Knight being our first podcast, but we didn't feel ready. And honestly, it's like my white whale where I don't know if I ever want to do it because I love it that much. I don't want to put it out there on the internet and then feel like I didn't say everything I wanted to say.
Yep.
It will easily be our longest episode, I'm guessing, to date when we do it.
That'll be like almost a scene by scene breakdown by that point.
I love every image. And I know you guys said that you think like Red Rocket and Spencer are like some of the most beautiful movies of the year. But to me, it's The Green Knight. Like the sequence there's 2 sequences in this movie that really stick out to me, and they're the best. There's, I think, the best scenes this year in movies. And it would be King Arthur's monologue on Christmas Day. Well, the witch, her name is Morgan Le Fay, right? When Morgan Le Fay is casting her ritual to summon the Green Knight and King Arthur's giving his Christmas monologue and they're cut within each other, it's just pure fucking cinema. Like, it's everything I like about movies. If you want to know what I like, play that scene. And then the second one would be Dev Patel when he's having the future vision of what his life is going to be like if he doesn't step up. And
so incredible.
And do what he's supposed to do. And that also is just like, oh, this is what I think that's kind of what people wanted the movie to be. But for me, that sequence just really ties the whole thing together.
I think my little part like that really resonated with me of The Green Knight was towards the end of the movie, and he meets Green Knight again, and he says he's almost disappointed when he meets him, and he's like, "Is this all that there is?" And then the Green Knight responds, he's like, "What else ought there to be?"
Yeah,
and it's just like I don't know,
kills me every time.
Yeah, because I mean, especially like when you're youthful and you have all these hopes and like aspirations and think the world is maybe different than it is, and it kind of hits you and you reflect and you're like, "Wait, what? This is all that there is?" And it's like, well, yeah, this is life. You have to make it what it is. Like, oh my God, like that movie's so good.
Yeah, I love the weirdness of it. I love the epicness of it. I love the journey. There's nothing about this movie I don't like. This movie is not only my favorite movie of this year, it is easily one of my favorite movies of all time.
I would say that too.
It's just everything I want.
There's everything about it.
I fucking love it. Like, not to sound too hyperbolic here, but like, this is my Lord of the Rings. This is my Game of Thrones or whatever. I love those things too. But for me, The Green Knight is the exact kind of fantasy movie I want to see. And David Lowery delivered. He delivered so good that I'm going to go watch his fucking Peter Pan movie.
Exactly.
Because I think he's going to kill that shit.
I think so
because
too.
I think it just fits within his realm of weird that he likes. And yeah, I'll stop blabbering about The Green Knight. Episode coming one day.
Yeah.
Don't know when, but it's coming one day.
I just always remember when he had taken notes for it, and we thought it was going to be our debut episode. On your notes, it just said Green Lightning. You know, and like just like highlighted, and it's just that scene, alone.
I still think about that shit. Oh my God. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, not enough can be said. We will talk about it thoroughly one day, The Green Knight.
I feel like all of these movies, the ones that we haven't done episodes on, we're probably going to do episodes on them. Yeah.
Especially as
More
we
than
start
likely.
slowing down. But
99%.
what's your number one, bro?
Okay. So, my number one is The Worst Person in the World. Again, got lucky enough to get a screener link to this. Wow. So this movie reminds me of the way the Drive My Car is too. Just a slice of life. But this has to deal with the girl to 4 years of her life. She's about to turn 30. she's seeking what she's supposed to be in life and what she's trying to do. And it's also about her love life, like what she's trying to find in herself or what she wants from her partner, what she's not sure. This movie is a rom-com in a way. I guess, yeah. Would that be the way to describe it? Let's see. Yeah, it's a rom-com. But I would say it even has its like pieces where it becomes almost psychedelic. I think this movie made me like it's very close to the age gap that we're at. Hit very close to home in terms of wow, like these are the thoughts that we all have. And it's such in her situation, I can see why she does these things. Like she's just not sure what she wants. I can't wait till we watch this movie and we talk about it.
Don't give away too much. I like to go on fresh.
I'm walking a very thin line here because it's my number one, and obviously
most people have not seen this movie.
Most people haven't seen this movie, but I would say that this movie just made me feel, I said, gets that feeling like, wow, this is a comfort movie for me in terms of like, years of like, I'm gonna watch this movie again just to make me feel better, to know that people go through this. You know,
I'm dying to see that movie because I remember when we saw the trailer for it at the theaters, we were like, oh, gotta see that.
Which we've only seen like once or twice.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get to see that many trailers for it.
I think I've only seen it once, but yeah.
This brings you to your number one.
Norwegian. Yeah, that's what I kept forgetting.
It's Norwegian film. Mm-hmm. All right, my number one. Or my number one, part B, 1B, I don't know, is Titan. Dude, I don't even know where to start. But the reason that I ended up giving this the number one over The Green Knight is because I was way more surprised at this movie than I was The Green Knight. Because I was familiar with the tale of The Green Knight, so I did kind of see the slowness coming, I guess. But Titan just blew me out of the fucking water. I left that theater and even now, I've seen it like 3 times, I think, but I still just think about it. The cinematography, the story itself just being so weird, like that is really the kind of stuff that I just eat up. And the soundtrack. Like, I love the soundtrack in that movie. But Julia Ducournau gets me super excited. I cannot wait to see what she's going to put out next. I really do think that this movie should win some awards. It's not going to, I don't think. But this was just such a cool movie, a cool blend of body horror, and there seems to be a really big parallel between a lot of these movies we have seen and almost feeling sympathy towards really shitty people. And I think this movie handled that super well. But yeah, dude, Titan was my number one of the year.
Vincent Lindon for Best Actor.
Yeah, dude, like, oh my God. Everything about that movie was...
What a debut, too.
It was just so crazy.
By Agatha Roselle.
For real.
Her first role.
Just absolutely killed it. And she didn't even really speak that much. Like, that's just...
The cars are so cool. Like, the designs of, like, basically lowrider designs. The cars.
We had the Cadillac this year. We got the red Saab this year. We got the green Porsche.
Yeah, the cars were just such an integral part to such a good movies. That's Titan. Honestly, every time you bring it up, just so much to think about. Talked about it for 2 hours, but still seems like you could talk about it for 2 more hours.
I would not even tell anybody what that movie's about if they asked me. Like, just go watch it.
Well, the craziest part is, like, we knew what it was going to be about. Like, the whole sex with a car thing, like, okay, what's going to happen? But that movie is not... That's almost on the back burner for most of the movie.
That's the part that's, like, on the synopsis.
Yeah.
They don't mind giving you that away in the synopsis of what it's about.
Exactly. And then the movie was so good.
I mean, I guess that was the best horror thriller movie of the year.
Probably.
I mean, for me personally, I didn't find it to be like a horror movie, but it's definitely got body horror elements to it.
The juxtaposition between the shittiness that these characters went through and then finding the love within each other, it was just so fucking well done. Like, Titan was awesome.
How many love stories is there about a serial killer?
Yeah,
right?
A serial killer and a dude who was probably responsible for his son's death, and oh my God.
And really, I mean, not to try to shit on Red Rocket, but to have 2 people who have killed and maybe not on someone who maybe killed somebody on accident and a serial killer, and still having a huge amount of sympathy for these characters. If there's a right and wrong way to do it, Titan is the right way.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Is what I would say. That's what I'm trying to say.
I got you. Yeah. I would agree.
So that wraps up our top 10 of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Banger of a year, man.
Yeah,
this is probably next year. There's no way it's gonna hold a candle to this year.
I don't think there will be.
I mean, we are getting. Now that we're done with our top 10, let's kind of talk about the future of the podcast. Our 2022 plans. Some movies that we're excited for 2022. We already know we're hyped for The Northman because we brought it up like 4 or 5 times, right?
You know the
And
Batman.
if you've seen the trailer, you fucking understand why we're
now
excited
you
for
understand.
that
You
movie.
can't tell me that doesn't look incredible.
I'm ready for this to take Robert Eggers into the stratosphere. It's like, no, you need to pay attention to this guy and you need to know who he is because he's making some of the best movies today.
Yep.
Easily one of the best working directors. I had mentioned my Mount Rushmore of directors, of current directors, and I already told you guys that he was on there. And my other movies I'm excited for, and I'm sure I'm speaking for all of us here, is The Batman. No fucking shit, we're excited for that. I made a joke that we might do 4 episodes on it, but it might not be a joke. I'm down to do Batman. I'm down to do Batman month if you guys are. I'm excited for Disappointments Boulevard. That's Ari Aster with Joaquin Phoenix. You already know that's going to be fucked up and weird.
That we're getting Eggers and Aster again next year.
And we're also getting Jordan Peele.
And
Daniel Kaluuya is going to be there with Stephen Yeun and Keke Palmer. And it's going to be Nope. What is it about? I do not know. There's no plot for it yet out there. It's just a poster of a cloud with a line of flags coming out of it. I don't know what the hell it's going to be, but I'm super excited.
Cannot wait.
That's 3 of my Mount Rushmore directors are coming out with the movie.
Who's your last one?
Is Julia Ducournau.
Yeah,
like of my 4 directors I'm the most excited for. And then come on, man, Gramps Marty's back, bro. Come on, Killers of the Flower Moon is gonna have his first Western movie, dude.
I know.
I'm sure you're excited.
I'm mad excited.
What a killer name.
Leonardo DiCaprio's gonna be in it. The Chud Jesse Plemons is gonna be in it.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe 2022 will be better year for him.
Wow.
But I'm
just
fucking
have to
excited
see.
for those movies. Do you guys have any other movies you want to mention that you're excited for?
No, I mean honestly, like those are pretty much it. Those 3.
Those are gonna carry me for the whole year because there's gonna be other good. Oh, and Everything and Everywhere All at
That's
Once.
true.
That
That was a
movie.
new one that came out.
That looks really exciting.
Yeah, Eggers is my favorite working director, and I just can't wait for The Northman.
We're going to have a lot of international cinema that came out this year, but we're not going to get to see till next year. So, we'll probably talk about, Parallel Mothers. That looks really interesting with Penelope Cruz.
Macbeth.
Yeah, Macbeth. We're going to dive into Drive My Car, The Worst Person in the World, Memoria. We will get you these episodes as soon as we can. But
we'll probably also, we were talking about maybe doing some director tier list, potentially having some more open conversation pieces, kind of like this. So,
yeah, this episode is kind of marking the end of our film criticism era for now. We will still be talking about the films when they come out, but it's going to be a lot fewer and far in between each other. The Northman and Batman is not till March and April.
Right.
So I think we're going to fill up a lot of our time with more open discussions. Just talking about movies in general. Yeah, like you said, tier list. Maybe I think Alvaro kind of brought up some fan casting stuff earlier, like if Robert Eggers was to make Van Helsing, and me and him kind of already worked that out.
Cast out.
Yeah, worked that cast out in our head, but that'd be a really fun idea.
Hugh Jackman's back, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Hugh Jackman is
of
back.
course.
And I'll give another one away is that Barry Keoghan would play Igor.
Nice.
Yeah.
Perfect.
nice. Willem Dafoe is the Wolfman.
Oh my God.
All right, so yeah, we're gonna do a lot more fun stuff like that, and we're also gonna dive into older movies. So 2020 stuff. I know that's not old, but we weren't doing the podcast then, and there was movies we want to talk about. But diving into some classics and maybe lesser known movies. Just off the top of my head, we're gonna do Indiana Jones. We're gonna do stuff like Jaws. We'll probably do a ton of Spielberg stuff. Going back and talking about Tarantino,
get some Kubrick in this
PTA,
bitch.
Stanley Kubrick, David Lynch. We're gonna go back and talk about movies that we know we already love.
Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah, Hitchcock, Kurosawa movies. We didn't have the time to really talk about those with the past 3 months just because
There's just too
too many movies. Yeah, but now we're gonna really get to dive into the movies that we know we love already, and you just really go into those. We have so much more to say about that stuff, obviously.
Yeah, and also if you listeners have any movies that you think we would want to do, or maybe that you think we haven't even seen, shoot us those suggestions, and maybe we'll end up doing an episode about that.
Because in all honesty, one of our friends kept asking me, what movie are you guys doing next? And I can't even think what the next movie that's coming out that we would want to talk about. And just because I'm not.
It would maybe be like Macbeth, or
right,
if we can get access to one of these other movies that was on your list. But yeah, man, until Macbeth, which is 2 weeks from now on Apple TV, I think we might do another lobby talk, or maybe we'll do some kind of open conversation. But yeah, the podcast is going to be changing. a little bit, but I'm really excited because this is what we wanted to do in the beginning.
Yeah, I think this was a good way, doing what we did the past like 3-4 months. It was a good way to kind of establish a baseline.
Cut our teeth.
Yeah, get some work under our belts and see what like this is really going to be. And now we can kind of branch out and do some different stuff and take some suggestions from the audience.
We'll talk about movies you guys probably have seen.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is like, I mean, we really felt like we did have to cover all these movies because they came out, but it also did that hurt in a way because a lot of people may not have seen these. We don't know. So trying to give you guys the ability to kind of tune in for stuff that maybe you have seen or that is easier to see. So.
It's also hard to think if we had all of a sudden opened an alien discourse in 2021 that it would be very groundbreaking.
Yeah, exactly. There's some movies where it's going to be like, I don't really have too much to say because what hasn't been said already.
Right.
What am I going to add to the
Do you want me to do a breakdown of 2001? Like, there's 30,000 videos of that on YouTube. Like, every film class.
And I'm definitely not the smartest person talking about it.
So, but there will be things that, that we'll do. So.
Oh, you know what? Like, I'm not saying this is for sure, but I just got The Killing on Criterion, which is one of Kubrick's first movies, and you haven't seen it. So, like, something like that, like a 1950s movie, we might just talk about one week, or a 70s movie, or an 80s movie. And we're really going to dive into the world of older movies and classics. And
fucking OG Nightmare Alley.
Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, stuff like that. Like, that'd be fun idea to do a comparison.
Detective Crashmore.
Yeah. So, on that note, I think we should just close it down and ring out the new year.
Yeah.
Super thankful for everybody who's tuned in. You guys have no idea how much it means to us.
Yeah, this was honestly this was so much fun. Just to actually do something and have this kind of catch on and have you guys listening and interacting with us has been awesome. I cannot express how thankful that we are for that because without you guys, this is not a podcast. This is us recording ourselves speak. So
old man yells at cloud.
Exactly.
But you guys have given us someone to talk to.
You know what? This has been awesome. We appreciate the engagement. We're looking forward to seeing your guys' suggestions this next year. And I mean, yeah, have a happy new year. Hope you enjoyed 2021.
Yeah, you got anything to say to the people, Ro?
I had one last question to try to just see if you guys, on the spot, ask you guys, what was your favorite movie that you saw this year in general?
Oh, that didn't come out this year?
It didn't have to come out this year.
Okay, an old movie that I seen this year for the first time.
Or like, yeah, exactly.
Singing in the Rain.
I got two of them.
That's
I watched Singing in
one?
the Rain on this past week when it was raining super heavy, and I'd never seen that movie. It blew me away that's a truly perfect movie, and that's the type of movie that made me realize what poverty times we're in. I'm like, we had it so good. Society as a whole had it so good back then, and they didn't even know it.
Agreed. Yeah, that's Singing in the Rain. I remember seeing that one in film class. That's where I first seen that movie too. It's perfect. I think you might know.
I think I know what it is. So I'm gonna.
He gave one, right? Though, yeah, I'm gonna get one too.
Yeah,
it has to be Paris, Texas.
Yeah, dude. Jesus.
Is that both of your guys's?
That would be mine, but I'll talk about a different one because.
But Paris, Texas. Wow. I don't know how I first heard of this movie, but just the little snapshots of it. Definitely
The memes on Instagram,
or the yeah, I guess.
Or not memes, but like people post about it a lot.
That's true. Yeah,
it's a big Instagram and Twitter movie of like, have you seen Paris, Texas?
Vim Vendors, right?
Yeah.
It's not. I think it's.
It checks your cinephile card, you know. Like I've seen Paris, Texas.
Bro, that's legit like one of the best movies ever.
5 out of, yeah, I think it's just like 5 out of 5 movie as I was watching it. I think it has everything. It reminds me of the reasons why I love Red Rocket and Spencer, but the reasons why I also love stuff like Macbeth. Like in terms of being able to just make everything look so well, and like it's peak cinema, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, I would say that Paris, Texas is probably mine, but since you went with that, I'm gonna go with Brian De Palma's and John Travolta's Blowout.
Yeah, that would be so much fun.
Can't believe I never seen that movie. I really still can't get over that movie. It's fucking awesome. That's John Travolta's best performance. I like it more than Pulp Fiction. Dude, if you haven't seen that movie, go see it. It's such a
fun movie.
Yeah. We got one last subject in there for you guys. We snuck it right in at the very end. But Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah,
Happy New Year, everybody.
Go see some movies. Spend some
watch
time
a
with
movie.
your family.
Spend some time inside. Don't catch Omicron.
Yeah.
So, for the last time in 2021, thank you for checking in. We're checking out. Grand Cinema Hotel forever. Bye.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys.